Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I will discuss the very significant medium-term progress that the cryptocurrency market just made, pumped upwards above a very major resistance level, and it is now on track to start attacking its all-time high. I will also discuss the quite abnormal, quite strange, and very prolonged deviation that Bitcoin is seeing between its traditional correlation to the traditional markets. Okay, so this is very strange, and it's being prolonged and dragged out to a point which is raising a lot of eyebrows. Right, certainly raising mine, and I think this might be due to the few things that's gone on in the US recently with the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and also now Biden pulling out of the presidential race. I think that might be having an effect here. I'll explain what I mean by that in this video, but overall, we're doing a general market update. What's happened? Do we look bullish? What is the short term? What's the medium term? What's the long term? And then what is this abnormal deviation? And what does it mean for crypto in the future? Could it be a hindrance for crypto? Let's go ahead and take a look in a second here. Before we do so, let's check out the exchanges, right? Got the Bitfinex and BingX exchanges. They are both global, non-KYC. You can sign up from anywhere in the world on these exchanges. With my referral links down below, if you use my links down below, which I recommend you do, you'll get a 15% trading fee discount for life on either of these exchanges. And you'll also get access to a potential 5,500 USDT reward on Bitfinex and 4,000 USDT on BingX in rewards, in bonuses, just for signing up for my links. That's a potential reward there. Literally says it right here on the homepage. I'm not making it up. There it is in highlighted. So use my links down below, get on a good exchange, get on a historically secure exchange, get your trading fee discounts, and get on a non-KYC exchange as well. Those links are down below. Let's get into the content today. Let's start out with the medium-term price action, because that's been very good. There's no way around it. It's been bullish price action. It's been great to see. Right, so there's three major levels in this range. There is the top of the range, which is this level right here, between 71.2 and 72K. That is the top of the range. 73K was a justified deviation. We know that very clearly by all the additional retests, as well as the retest on support, even on the wick, that went up to 73K. Right, so that was a justified deviation to the all-time high. The actual level is 72K that we need to break. And to the downside, our green level, the bottom of the range, sits at around 61, right? That is the critical monthly chart level, stemming back from 2021's November 2021 high close on monthly chart, coming right across. It's very clearly the macro support zone. We saw a couple of deviations. One of the deviations was down to 57K to retest critical things such as the bull market support band. The other one was a much more extensive, I guess you could say it's even a correction. I wouldn't really call it a deviation. It's more of a correction. We kind of went downwards quite a bit, crashed downwards on not only on Bitcoin, but also mostly on altcoins. And now we've actually gotten it back up it. So we didn't really have enough selling pressure to sustain that correction and that crash downwards. And it happened in a very abnormal market environment as well. It happened in a period of time where traditional markets were soaring to the upside. So it's very weird price action altogether. Regardless of how we categorize that, it did happen, it did occur, but now we are back within the macro range. So again, macro range, green zone right here, top zone is the red zone, 72K is the top zone, 61K is the green zone. And then we have this level in the middle, this red line in the middle. That is the mid-range level. And it's a level that defines this range from around April 13th. You can see since April 13th, in this circle that I'm circling right here specifically, that has been the dividing line, the line in the sand, right? So we've kind of come down from April 13th, we've tested the support, but every single rejection has occurred from this level right here. And then once we got back above it, we were testing resistance, but every single bounce was from that level right there. And right now we have managed, after a brief period of resistance lasting about 2 days, and very clear resistance, very defined resistance. You can see it right there. Candle closes, right? We finally got above it after a retest back to the downside. This was a significant level that has held validity, and now we've gotten above it. So we can go ahead and make a monumental mark here and go ahead and flip that color to green, because that is now a support zone. That's good progress there for Bitcoin. And now we are in a position, since we are in the upper part of the range instead of the lower part of the range, we are in a position to start attacking the all-time high and start threatening to break above it. The same things happen for Ethereum. Ethereum's relative level to the mid-range level on Bitcoin is this red line on the screen. We managed to flip that red line very definitively for support. You can see it active for support back here. Once we lost it, we saw three of the most deadly bearish candles on Ethereum in recent price history. So very clearly a very major support level, and we have flipped it back for support now, as well as the bull market support band. I don't want to get your hopes too high though, although this is really good price action, and it is really good price action. There's no way around that. The short-term PA is showing a little bit of weakness, which is as to be expected. It's not concerning really. We've seen, at the end of the day, an unrelenting move upwards from the base here. I've just zoomed in accidentally. We've seen an unrelenting move upwards from the base down here at 53K. We've moved upwards around 28% on Bitcoin, a similar amount on Ethereum, and no real correction in between. I suppose we saw a couple candles of correction here, down 3 or 4%, nothing major. So it's not really the end of the world if we see a pullback. And that is kind of what the charts are showing right now. We do have a ascending wedge formation here on Bitcoin in yellow, and we do have a similar thing on Ethereum, an ascending wedge formation again in yellow. So perhaps we see a pullback down to, retest maybe this bull market support band or something like that. It's kind of a strange position, because we are now on top of this macro support. So any sort of significant correction wouldn't really be that possible. It would be short-lived, I'd say. Perhaps consolidation is the option instead. Perhaps we just consolidate in the support zone instead, while all the moving averages come upwards to support Bitcoin even further and create a base for another bounce. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that right now there is a little bit of weakness showing, and I'm just saying don't be surprised if we do see some sort of negative price action. This is not really a zone in which you want to take shorts, though. As I said, it's a little bit unclear as to where that drop could go, because again, you don't want to be taking shorts on a layered and very foundational macro support zone, or let's just say range bound support zone that stems back 4 months from April 13th, or 3 months from April 13th. That's not a level you want to be taking shorts on. And then if you short once that level is broken, well, then you're shorting right into the bull market support band. You're shorting right into the price cycle center lines, and those are not levels you want to short into either, because they're very, very important cyclical levels. So I'm not looking for shorts here at all, really. Even if we see breakdowns, I'm not really looking for shorts. I think this is not a zone in which you want to be shorting, not at all, really. So I think Bitcoin, for that reason, if I'm not willing to take shorts and I'm not even thinking about it, for that reason, I can't be bearish. I'm certainly bullish on Bitcoin. Now, the altcoin market is still under a little bit of pressure here. Unfortunately, it hasn't managed yet to break above its critical levels just yet. Altcoin market, of course, is on the cusp of an altcoin season, and it might be weird seeing someone say, "Of course it is," right? I understand that's weird, but we're very clearly following a cyclical pattern here, 5-step pattern. You can see the 5 steps in the last cycle. You can see we're on step 4 right now. All of the components of step 4 have maintained, or at least the critical ones, right? The critical ones being, and I've now been able to identify what they are, wasn't able to do so before, being an ascending support line, stepping back from before step 3, and a horizontal support level on the top of step 3, and those levels have been retested, and for the most part held. The ascending support line we dropped below briefly, but we held the horizontal support level, and we've managed to get back above the ascending support line and also flip it for support, so it is valid again. And also, we're testing the bull market support band right now, which is why I just said I'm not super keen to just jump headfirst into altcoins here. I want to just move literally a little bit up, right? We closed the weekly candle just below where I wanted to see the close. If we get above that level, right, and we flip it and then we're heading upwards again, awesome, cool, get back in alts. But again, I don't see a reason really. If you're being logical and you're not being driven by greed, there's no real reason to enter altcoins when you're at a macro resistance zone, such as the bull market support band, like right on top of it, and failed to close above it. And you're seeing short-term exhaustion on these charts. Even though you won't enter short positions, it's just not a good place to enter. Like literally just wait for a 3% move to the upside and then take entry. I don't see what the rush is. A lot of people are very rushed right now, and rushing doesn't get you anywhere in financial markets. I'll tell you right now, it doesn't. And I also will tell you right now that altcoin season, although it might be on the cusp of occurring on a macro scale, hasn't occurred yet. If you're sitting here holding Bitcoin, which you should be doing for the most part, right? Because altcoin season has not occurred yet. We never sold our Bitcoin in this channel. We never said we were selling our Bitcoin in this channel. And we didn't sell it on the drop, that's for sure. If you're sitting here holding Bitcoin, and you're very desperate to get in altcoins, and you're really stressed about when you're going to buy altcoins, and you're rushing into altcoins, why? Because the move upwards right now is still dominated by Bitcoin. Bitcoin on a generalized scale is still outperforming altcoins on a generalized scale. So there's really no rush. Like, you'd rather wait for confirmation. And then hopefully by the time confirmation actually comes, we'll start to see altcoins outperform Bitcoin. Like, in my opinion, there's no rush to dive straight up into altcoins Now, have I been buying altcoins? Yeah, I have. I've been buying conservative amounts of altcoins on certain coins in very, very good positions, right? That's what you want to be doing. Obviously, if you want to outplay the market, which you have to do in this case because Bitcoin is still leading the market, so you have to outplay the market to actually make more money on altcoins than you would on Bitcoin. Otherwise, it's not worth taking the risk. You have to choose your coins effectively. That's what I've done. So I've justified myself in buying altcoins for that reason. But for someone who doesn't know an excelling degree of TA, it's probably not the best idea to just jump into random altcoins right now. You probably just want to be waiting a little bit longer. And that's been my thesis for a couple of days here. I've kind of said it on the YouTube channel. Hopefully, within the next couple of days, that will change. And hopefully I'll be sitting here saying, buy altcoins because we'd be above the major levels. But unfortunately, we're just not there yet. We're right next to it. We're right on the cusp, but we're not quite there yet. Now, obviously, if you want to take the risk, you can do so, right? Obviously, I'm macro bullish. I think we will go to new all-time highs. I think we'll be at all-time highs within the next month, right? But that doesn't mean it's not a risk, because it is a risk. Because if you're entering without confirmation, it's always a risk. So hope you guys understand that. But moving onwards, and here's kind of the final topic, and this is something I maybe even should have spoken about first, because it's kind of going to be the title of this video, I think. Haven't decided yet. This is the deviation, the very strange price action we've been seeing. And the reason it's strange is not because we're going upwards. Everyone expected that. I expected that. Everyone expected that, right? Not everyone, but a lot of people. The reason it's strange is because the mechanisms that usually move Bitcoin a certain way are not playing out right now, even though we're going upwards. Let me explain. Guys, like it or not, Bitcoin and traditional markets are heavily correlated to each other. They have been since 2020. Look at the screen here. In orange, we have Bitcoin. In white, we have the S&P 500 representing broader traditional markets. They move together. They move together because, generally speaking, the people who are investing in Bitcoin and the people who are investing in traditional markets are the same. They're both people who invest in assets when they have the money to do so, and that is allowed via economic circumstances. So that, things in the economy, what are interest rates, what are how people are doing financially. If people are broke, they have no money to spend, they're not spending anything on Bitcoin, that's for sure. And so therefore you see a scenario in which basically, unless there's an alien population who invests in Bitcoin when human populations don't, of course you're going to see Bitcoin and traditional markets move together, because people are only going to invest if they have money, and that applies to all markets. So the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate really, because it really does go against what cryptocurrency is on an ideological level. But unfortunately, yeah, Bitcoin and traditional markets have been correlated for quite some time now. And we do see periods of decorrelation, we do see periods of deviation, but the trend is they are correlated. The trend is when S&P goes up, Bitcoin goes up, and vice versa, right? And that's specifically why this period of price action since June, which is quite a long period of time, right? It's since the start of June, for about a month and a half. In fact, even furthermore, you could even take it back to May if you wanted to. We've seen a not only decorrelation, but a reverse correlation between traditional markets and Bitcoin. We haven't seen this much decorrelation for like a long time. I mean, we go back to March 2023 through to October 2023, and you can make the argument that we saw a similar period of decorrelation, but it wasn't a reverse correlation, really. We went sideways on Bitcoin while the S&P went upwards and then downwards. Right now, we are blatantly going upwards while the S&P is going downwards. And for the last month before now, we were blatantly going downwards while the S&P was going upwards. So this is, okay, maybe not the most extensive deviation in correlation, but it is in the scale and the significance and the severity, I should say, of the decorrelation. I mean, this is big stuff. Like, we haven't seen this in a long time. And no one really knows why it's happening. They don't. We had the theories before. Oh, is it Mt. Gox? Is it the German selling? What is it? Is it just blatant manipulation? And now, as we drop downwards, I theorize this drop downwards on the S&P while Bitcoin remains upwards could be due to the fact that we saw the attempted assassination of Trump and now also Biden dropping out of the presidential race. And both of these things have raised Trump's chances of winning the US election in the polls. And Trump, of course, has more lenient crypto policies, and therefore it does create a justifiable narrative for cryptocurrency to rise while S&P goes down, because S&P is acting regularly. It's reacting to normal market environments, whereas we have a specific, thing that's happened that affects crypto, like, for example, Trump getting elected, that affects crypto significantly and also in an isolated fashion to traditional markets because Trump has lenient crypto policies, okay? So it makes sense, kind of, why crypto is rising while the S&P falls, but that's only over the last, like, week, right? Over the last month and a half, 2 months, this deviation makes no sense. So I just want to make you alert that this still is a very, very weird period of time market environment. Like, this is why this drop here made no sense. This drop here made no sense. It didn't make any sense. There was no reason to see that drop. There was, you know, the narratives were vague, and the S&P was skyrocketing. The S&P was making new highs while Bitcoin dropped below that support zone. And so now we're kind of left with the explanation that, oh, we went too high during ETF, so therefore we had to come back and pull back to an unexpected level. That's kind of the justification that I'm taking right now. But it's not anything that we can, you know, concretely base any predictions based off. It's literally just a explanation I'm putting forward that is potentially true, but also unprovable. That's why that period of price action we saw between early June and early July, where it was so weird, because it was just like, what is going on here? S&P 500 is crushing it, and Bitcoin is absolutely tanking 20%. We're down 60% on altcoins. Like, what's going on here? It made no sense. And it made no sense because historically, the whole mechanism that moves Bitcoin price action is the same as the mechanism that moves traditional market price action. And that mechanism was exponentially bullish. Like, it was screaming euphoria and Bitcoin was dropping. And right now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's continued, but now it's continuing to the opposite direction. So now S&P is going down and Bitcoin's going upwards. And this raises the question, you know, when the S&P goes back upwards, will Bitcoin go downwards? And the unfortunate truth is we have no way of knowing. So I just want to alarm you that although the charts are really good right now and everything's cool with the charts, there is still this very strange, irrational PA going on with the S&P and Bitcoin correlation. And that very well could lead to further distortions in what we should expect. So be aware of that, right? Just because the price is going upwards, it doesn't mean that reverse correlation, that abnormal reverse correlation has gone away. It's still there. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. But as for the charts, if we're just going to ignore that, which I don't think we should, but if we're ignoring that and just looking at the Bitcoin charts, everything's looking pretty good. Medium-term price action looks good. Short-term, okay, maybe we go down a little bit, but medium-term, we made some great progress, and that's that. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's check in a few things before we end. If you want to gain access to an exclusive community where we discuss the cryptocurrency market in group chat format, but where I also post my own altcoin trading signals, you can do so on Telegram for an affordable price, $365 until April 2025. That's your membership length, and that's the price right there. Very affordable in comparison to VIP group, very good value for what you get. And you're also getting into an exclusive community there with other determined individuals ready to make money in the cryptocurrency market. So check it out if you're interested. And then also check out, if you want to just do it yourself, right? You can do so at the Become a Trader 10-unit course. We're running a sale right now. It's a university-style course teaching people how to trade. All of the information's on the website. If you want to learn how to trade, that's where you can do it. So check it out. And then finally, just a quick reminder again, the exchanges, Bitcoin being X, global non-KYC, never been hacked before, low in trading fees, even lower with my links down below, as well as the rewards available down there as well. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.